Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm really passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one you had envisioned for yourself. And I got to tell y'all, I'm really laughing at myself today. I'm in a weird mood. I actually got some sleep last night, so thank goodness. Thank goodness for that. But the flip side of that is my body's always like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Because it's so rare. But I'm so grateful. But when I woke up, I was like, wow, my pain level isn't too bad. Well, usually when I get up and move around, my pain level drops. But the opposite happened today, and I have no idea why. So I'm kind of in a weird mood, but I'm in a good mood because there's no point not being in a good mood. And then I had to laugh at myself as A, here I am about to talk about time management, and I'm what 6, 7 minutes late starting this, and B, I really found I found a different direction to look at time management, a different perspective, I should say, from which to view time management issues. And I've been meaning to do that for so long. And you know what? I am terrible at managing my time, but at least I can laugh at myself, right? So let's talk about time management. This information is from timemanagementninja.com. I've always struggled with this because for some reason, and I don't know where I ever got this idea, but for some reason in my head, time management, I get I get this view of somebody super uptight and obsessive compulsive, and everything doesn't go their way, they just lose it. Actually, as I was saying that, I'm like, no, I know exactly where I got that from because I know somebody like that. And in fact, years ago, years ago, the first time I had ever cooked a turkey, she'd been out on her own a lot longer. She moved out when she was like 15 or 16. Anyway, she'd been out on her own a lot longer, and I knew she had experience with it. So I called her and I was like, "Hey, I know of all people that you've got written instructions for this. Will you send them to me?" Absolutely. So she did. And I have to tell you, reading it gave me so much anxiety. She had her, and she's like, "I'm just going to send you my whole thing." I said, "Okay." She had a schedule for Thanksgiving Day that was, and this worked for her. Okay. But for me, this gave me so much anxiety. At 9 o'clock, we do this. At 9:15, I do that. At 9:30, I do that. At 9:45, I do that. Well, okay. That's great. But what happens to like 2:15 if something goes wrong at 9:45? So I can't, to me, that would give me so much anxiety. And that's part of the reason I've always really struggled with time management is I get that kind of mental picture. But it's really not about being uptight. It's about taking control of your time, and it's about honoring. It's really about honoring your priorities. So, number 1, if you learn how to manage your time properly, you're going to have a lot less stress and anxiety. Well, of course, you're not going to be surprised by an unexpected deadline, which it was expected somewhere, you just forgot. You're going to have fewer missed deadlines, which is going to obviously lead to a lot less stress and anxiety. Excuse me, it is allergy season. Number 2, improved productivity. This is where I notice it the most. When I do get a grip on my time, my productivity goes way up. Um, and it's funny because there's certain things in my life where I am really, really organized about, and I know how much stress relief I get from that. There's other areas in my life that are total chaos, and I tend to just look at those and go, oh well. But it does improve your productivity because you get a to-do list that ensures that everything that you're going to do is completed in a timely manner. You're not going to be rushing. You're not going to lose the instructions. You're just going to get it done. Excuse me. When I was working on a big project last year, and it was really, honestly, it was quite a few steps above my pay grade, but it was so much fun to be involved with, and it was really exciting. I had to be extraordinarily organized, and it was so funny because in regards to something like that, man, I can get so dialed in, and this is how this has to flow. And I don't do it so much by time blocks, but I have my to-do list and how everything has to proceed through the process. And I'm great at that, but for some reason, I have a hard time applying that to my personal life. But number 3, you will spend less time redoing it. Just do it once and get it over with. But if you're a procrastinator, eh, probably going to lose the directions, or you won't be able to find them, at least when you need them. You're going to forget any special information that you were given. And it causes you screw up. When you wait till the last second and try to cram everything in, you're going to make a mistake, and then you're going to have to redo it. And if it's a work project, not only are you going to have to redo your portion, but chances are whoever was waiting for that information from you, you just screwed them up too. So you have to learn to be on top of your time. Number 4, if you learn how to manage your time, you're going to have a lot less life friction. It's going to help you avoid stress. It's going to keep you from putting yourself into the middle of unnecessary anxiety. Excuse me. When you don't manage your time, you make your own stress. People give me a lot of crap. I travel back and forth between Alaska and Texas very frequently, and people are always saying, "What do you mean you're not packed?" Well, I can't. I mean, I get everything I can packed up. I do in advance, but all of my skincare, all of my makeup and stuff, all that has to be, that's the day of, or sometimes very last minute packing. Um, I I can get very stressed about that. So I have a packing list. And I also keep a list on my phone. So when I land, I know this is what I have in the house. Water. In Texas, it's always because the tap water is, I'm sorry, yuck. But do I have water in the house? What kind of supplements do I have here? Because I am back and forth and I spend enough time in each place. I don't remember. Do I have calcium down there? Do I have pre-workout in Alaska? So I keep a list on my phone of what I have in both places so I don't have to waste time. I don't have to create anxiety and don't have to drag a bunch of extra crap back and forth. But it does cost a lot less life friction. You're going to get more free time. I used to have a little dog that was disabled. And he was such a happy little dog, but he took more medication than I do. And taking him on a trip, it involved some planning. And once I learned to make a packing list, what could take me seriously an hour or more to make sure I had all of his stuff on board, take me a couple minutes. Grab the list, run through it, everything's on board, done. If you make yourself like a packing list, or every time I go here, I need to have these things done, you'll be amazed. Yes, it's going to take a little time to set up on the front end. But if you do that for yourself, you'll be amazed at how much that's going to free up not only your time, but your mental space. You're not going to be stressing yourself out running around at the last minute. Obviously, being on top of your time means less wasted time because you won't be chasing your tail so much, because you won't be redoing something. Or when I don't use a packing list, you won't be unpacking and repacking your suitcase to make sure, oh my gosh, did I get that? Managing your time leads to increased opportunities. And I absolutely learned this at my job. Several years ago, I took on a huge project, and this was before, and of course, now most of the big processes are all automated, digitized, I guess would be a better, anyway, they're online. But the first really big project that was put onto my lap, it all had to be done by hand. And initially I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are going to dump all this whole project is going to be dumped in my lap. But the person who was supervising the project was very smart about leadership. And I went very quickly from, oh my God, y'all are going to make me do this, to y'all watch this, I'm going to kick ass. And I did. And it was really cool. It was very cool for me to see that I was capable of, I was so completely organized. I had no idea I could do such work. I really didn't. But I was so organized, and I had people who didn't know me. They heard of me because of how organized the project was and how smoothly it was huge, but because of how smoothly the whole process went. And let me tell you, there were seriously about 200 balls in the air, and I had to keep track of all of them. I did such a good job that it opened a lot of doors for me. And in fact, that's how I got to work on a lot of other really fun and interesting and cool projects. And that's how I ended up befriending people many levels above me within the organization that I work for because word gets around when you're good. It just does. And it so that it increases opportunities because people know they can rely on you. It improves your reputation. Of course it does. Nobody wants to deal with you if you're unreliable in any way, shape, or form. That being said, I have to be really careful. A lot of times, my health, even in the professional world, if I'm not careful, I can start using that as an excuse to not be prepared and to not be on top of things. But I can't be unreliable just because of my health, because I still have to make a living. I still have to go about my business. I still have to have relationships with other people outside of work. Everybody needs to know you're reliable. Nobody wants to be friends with someone they can't count on. Anyway, I'm getting way the hell off topic here because I'm tired and brain foggy. So I'm going to go. I hope you'll have a wonderful afternoon, and I will be back Wednesday around, because I'm not good at time management. I'm going to say around 11 o'clock Alaska